today's video, we wanted to talk about competitive markets within economics. A perfect example of a competitive market involves professional sports, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and hockey. Each of these sports are competing for revenue through viewership, ticket sales, souvenirs, autographs, and also concessions within the stadium or arena. We wanted to dive in a little deeper towards two sports in particular, and that is the NFL and the MLB, only because they are the two highest salaried sports. If you wanted to attend a baseball game, the average ticket would cost you $32.99. And if you wanted a jersey to represent, that would also cost $125. On top of that, the average cost of food is $42. The MLB brought in a total revenue of $10 billion this last year, and with an average salary of $4.3 million for the players. One player in particular that we wanted to talk about was Mike Trout. Mike Trout just signed a guaranteed contract with the Los Angeles Angels for $430 million. Breaking that number down, Trout will be making $66,978 every at-bat and $221,193 a game. His contract with the Angels is guaranteed, which means if he were to suffer from a career-ending injury this next season, he will still receive in full the $430 million. The reason Mike Trout was offered this massive contract was simply this. He is a 3-time MVP, 8-time All-Star Game appearances, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, Wilson's overall Defensive Player of the Game, Rookie of the Year, 7-time Silver Slugger, and a Major League Player of the Year. And the list goes on and on.
Now, looking into the NFL, the average ticket price is $151, which is substantially more than it is for a baseball game. This is mainly because there are considerably less games in the NFL season than there is in the professional baseball season, so fans are inclined to pay more for a football game because of the scarcity. The average fan spends roughly $28 on food and drink during an outing, which is the cost of 2 hot dogs and 2 beers. An NFL jersey costs about $148, which is a little higher than the MLB, but not a considerable difference. The NFL brought in $8 billion in revenue for the 2018 season, which is about $2 billion less than the MLB did. This difference helps us understand why there is such a large pay difference between the highest Major League contract and the highest NFL contract. This also goes into the average NFL contract being only $2.1 million, which is less than half of the major leagues at $4.3 million. Now, looking into Matt Ryan, who currently has the highest contract in the National Football League at $223.5 million with $100 million guaranteed. This sits at barely above half of Mike Trout's $430 million contract that is all guaranteed. Although Ryan's contract is only for 5 years, where Trout's is for 12. With a 12-game regular season, that means Ryan is earning roughly $3.75 million per game. This puts him higher than Trout in per-game revenue, although not all of Ryan's contract is guaranteed. If he was to sustain a career-ending injury, he would only receive $100 million of his $223 million contract, which is a lot higher likelihood of occurring in the NFL than it does in the major leagues because of the nature of the sport. Although the risk is higher, it does not mean the NFL players should be getting paid more than the MLB players because the major league brings in a lot more revenue and has less players to pay than the NFL. So, in conclusion, looking at the market for professional sports, we see that the two highest earners, MLB and NFL's revenues, are quite different, which explains the pay difference between the two sports. MLB players should actually be getting paid more than NFL players because of their extremely long seasons, less players on a team, and their higher revenue earnings. Even though there's an argument that NFL is a more dangerous sport with a higher rate and more serious injuries, the numbers show that the NFL paying their players less than the MLB makes sense because of their higher number of players and less annual revenue. So all this being said, this proves that the market for professional sports is truly a competitive market. Thank you.